our FY25 has already started. We're a couple of weeks in, but we're getting good traction and we're seeing decent visibility over this year's revenues. And our broker has put out a note saying, anticipated revenues of 6.9, that would make us profitable.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by Martin Goldstone, the CEO of OnCommune. Martin, good to speak with you again. You're up to trading update and a full year outlook, and it's been a busy period for the company as you gained more commercial traction. Could you take us through the highlights?
Yeah, hi Stephen. Yeah, thanks very much. Yes, we announced or put out our trading update this morning. Obviously, the last month or so, we've announced a couple of large contracts with top 10 pharma, which we're very proud of and very pleased to announce. But obviously, the business has been super busy behind all of that too. So we use the trading update by way of sharing some of the smaller contracts that we've won in the period as well. And I think they're noteworthy on a couple of levels, really. One is the omics analysis contract. So all of these are with new customers. That's the first thing to note. And they're more biopharma scale. But the omics analysis one is really interesting because it's the first time we've been able to use the expertise we have in our bioinformatics platform, the way that we analyze the data and results we share with our customers, which is a really sophisticated, homegrown bioinformatics platform that uses a lot of the elements that you see in AI companies, so machine learning approaches. Because the data we produce in our studies is semi-quantitative and it's a light-based readout, so it's hard to measure that and gain data, useful data information from that unless you have this kind of sophisticated platform that we have. So be able to apply that with other people's data, particularly different types of data like DNA analysis data, is really interesting and exciting for me personally anyway. And I see that as potentially another arm to the business in the future. So I'm very excited about that. And then announcing a strategic framework agreement with an R&D accelerator is also very exciting because this is like the translational medicine CRO side of the business that I've been talking about and where we are trying to leverage and expand our reach through that space as well. So that's very exciting too. So yeah, really good news all around. We are confirming our guidance of approximately 3 million for last year's outturn. But I think the other important thing to note is that with these new contracts landing right at the back end of our year, that sets us up rather well for this year. So our FY25 has already started. We're a couple of weeks in, but we're getting good traction and we're seeing decent visibility over this year's revenues. And our broker has put out a note saying, anticipated revenues of 6.9, that would make us profitable. And that would be a first for this business in its history. So very excited about that.
And you did mention that the new framework agreements for collaboration will start to contribute to revenue going into the future.
Yeah, I would think so. I think realistically from next calendar year onwards, and I will probably produce a more detailed update on that once we've got a contract or a project to work on together, because I think that's the important thing with it. So we will watch this space for further news.
Okay, I'm sure we're going to be chatting to you as those results come out, unless we hit other milestones in the meantime. But Martin, thank you very much for the update today.
Pleasure, Stephen. Thanks for inviting me on again.
That's Martin Goldstone, the CEO of OnCommune.